I ask unanimous consent to address the Senate as if in morning business.
Without objection.
Today, I'd like to offer words of tribute to my departing colleague, Senator Tom Coburn, whose service exemplifies standards of purposefulness, integrity, and decency to which we should all aspire, and whose example ought to inspire the service of new and returning senators alike. I'm going to miss an awful lot our colleague from Oklahoma. I've always admired Tom for the strength of his convictions and the courage and candor for which he expresses them day after day. The number one thing people should do in Congress, Tom once said, is stay true to their heart. No one in the history of this institution has ever followed that injunction more faithfully than Tom Coburn has. Tom Coburn has an unshakable faith in the goodness of America, and he has worked diligently with others when he could, and alone if necessary, to make sure government respects the people we serve, respects their hopes and aspirations, their concerns and sacrifices. He's never forgotten he's the people's servant first and last, and they've never had a more genuine and determined champion. I think he has often acted as the conscience of the Senate. He can be unmovable on matters of principle when to do otherwise would harm or do no good for the country. Tom Coburn is sometimes called Dr. No, affectionately most, if not all the time. He's held up more legislation that he thought ill-served the public interest than any other member of this body. He even placed a hold on one of his own bills that he thought no longer met his high standard of accountability after it was reported out of committee. I don't think the American taxpayer has ever had a greater defender than Tom Coburn. I like to think I've taken a few principled stands when the situation has warranted it, and I've made myself an occasional nuisance in service to what I thought was a good cause. But I've never been so conscientious that I felt obliged to defeat my own legislation. That's a pretty high standard of personal responsibility to meet and a character test of the first order. I'm not sure many of us would pass it. I wouldn't. But then, as all his colleagues could attest, Tom Coburn is a person of the very highest character. He possesses the highest virtues: courage, humility, compassion, in abundance. It's been an honor to serve with him. As principled as he is, as unwavering as he can be when he believes it necessary, he has also been a brave and determined proponent of compromise when he believed it served the public interest, when it would help build a more prosperous and secure society with more opportunities for more people and brighter futures for our children. We always have detractors. Comes with the job. Whether Tom was standing on principle or seeking a principled compromise, he stood up to criticism. He stood up to pressure. He stood up to threats and insults and whatever negative personal consequences he might suffer. He stood up to whatever came his way to do what was right for his country. He stood up for the American people, no matter how difficult it was. What better can you say about a public servant? We worked together on a lot of things. We fought together to end earmarks and opposed other forms of wasteful spending. We worked together on oversight projects for the stimulus bill and highway trust fund spending. We also fought for a long time to let veterans decide where they could best receive health care. We made good progress on some issues and not enough on others. But Tom Coburn was always an example and an inspiration to me. But if I could speak more personally, he was more than a paragon to me and to other members of the Senate. He is first and foremost a kind, considerate, and loyal friend. A friend in good times and bad. A friend who brings out the best in you because he believes in the best part of you. I said earlier, Tom Coburn sees the innate goodness in the American people. He also sees it in his colleagues, even when it isn't apparent to other observers. We've shared happy times together, Tom and I, but Tom has the instinct and the kindness to be the kind of friend who's there when you need him most, in moments that aren't so happy. We all lead pretty good lives here. We get the chance to serve the greatest country in the world, and on occasion to make history. We're honored and feted and praised more than we deserve. But as all human beings do, we have moments of worry and doubt and disappointment. Tom always has a knack for showing up when I need cheering up. He has made the point over the years of being company when you most need it. Friendship is a virtue to him, and he means to live a virtuous life. You can be working on something with him or opposing each other on an issue. It doesn't matter. If you need him, he'll be there for you with a kind word, a piece of advice, a little encouragement, or just good company. There are too few people like that in anyone's life not to cherish the hell out of those who are. I cherish my friendship with Tom Coburn, and I always will. Mr. President, the Senate will be a poor place without Tom Coburn to set an example of public service for the rest of us. But in gratitude to him for his leadership and friendship, I will try a little harder to live up to his standards, and I hope he will let me know when I fall short.